The rain fell lightly over the narrow streets of a small town, washing dust from the rooftops and leaving behind the scent of wet earth. Under a patched canopy at the corner of a bustling market, Deep worked with quiet determination. Her hands, though tired, were tender as she handed out cups of green papaya salad to curious passers-by. At her side, little Nhi, barely 4 years old, helped as best as she could, her fragile hands passing cups to customers with a shy, whispered, "Thank you." The sight melted the hearts of everyone who stopped by. For Deep, each bowl sold wasn't just a meager earning. It was another brick in the fragile bridge she was building toward Nhi's future. But fate rarely shows mercy to those already carrying the weight of hardship. Elsewhere in the city, Lynn, Deep's trusted friend and loyal employee of CEO James, was trapped in a storm of his own. His younger brother, lost to gambling debts, had seen a small loan of 30 million dong balloon into an unbearable 100 million. Loan sharks circled like vultures, demanding repayment with threats of violence. Desperate, Lin had nowhere left to turn but his employer. James, a young but seasoned CEO, already bore the crushing responsibility of leading his empire. Beneath the glitter of his success lurked silent conspiracies waiting to destroy him. Yet when Lin appeared before him, eyes heavy with shame and desperation, James did not dismiss him. Instead, he listened. "I'll help you," James said firmly. "But from now on, never hide anything from me again." "I'm not just your boss. I'm your ally." It was a declaration that revealed a part of James few had ever seen, not the cold executive, but the man who valued loyalty above profit. A child's first dream. For little Nhi, life's greatest desire was heartbreakingly simple: to attend school. Rescued from the streets, she had no family to shield her. What she found instead was the embrace of Deep, who became her mother in all but name. With James's quiet support, that dream began to take shape. Together, they bought her a new uniform, sandals, and a colorful backpack. Nhi's eyes lit up with every item she tried on, as though she had been given the world. "When can I go to school, Mama Deep?" she asked, her voice carrying the pure innocence of a child who wanted nothing more than to learn and play like other children. The very next morning, beneath a sky clearing after the storm, Teacher Tuan arrived to finalize her enrollment. With trembling hands, Deep signed her name beside the word, Mother. Tears slipped silently down her cheeks. At last, fate had placed a piece of her long-held dream into her hands. James arrived just in time to see Nhi racing around with her new backpack. Unable to hold back a smile, he lifted her high into the air. Tomorrow, he promised, you'll go to school. It wasn't just a statement. It was a vow, the shadow of John, yet happiness was fragile. In the shadows lurked John, James's ruthless rival. With ties to organized crime and hands deep in international smuggling, John was no ordinary opponent. He spread rumors, withdrew investments, and seeded mistrust among James's shareholders. The corporate battlefield was one thing. But what made the situation unbearable was John's willingness to drag James's newfound family into his war. One afternoon, as Diep and Nhi carried groceries home, a group of men blocked their path. Tattoos snaked up their arms, and their sneering smiles were anything but friendly. "You must be the woman raising that little girl," one of them taunted. "They say you're under James's protection." "Let's see how long he can keep you safe." Fear gripped Diep's chest. She clutched Nhi's hand and tried to pass, but one man seized her arm. Before panic could take hold, a black SUV screeched to a halt. James stepped out. His gaze was cold, his voice unshakable. "Let her go." The silence was suffocating. The men exchanged glances but stepped back, unwilling to test the steel in James's eyes. Still, their leader spat out a warning. "This isn't over. You've made enemies in high places." James didn't flinch. "I've faced worse. But if you touch them again, there won't be a place in this world for you to hide." Pulling Diep and Nhi close, he shielded them with his body. That night, James didn't return to his luxurious apartment. Instead, he stayed in Diep's modest home, watching over Nhi as she fell asleep. The smell of freshly cooked rice, the chirping of crickets, the simplicity of the small house, it all gave him a peace he had never known in skyscrapers or boardrooms. For the first time, James realized he didn't need wealth to feel complete. What mattered most was right there: a woman, a child, and the fragile hope of a family. The war on two fronts. But business did not wait. Lynn arrived the next morning with damning documents. John was deliberately sabotaging James's hydroelectric project. Critical funds were being pulled. Investors panicked. The empire James had built teetered on collapse. James's life became a war on two fronts. By day, he fought in boardrooms filled with suspicion and betrayal. By night, he returned home, where the laughter of Nhi running barefoot in the yard reminded him what he was really fighting for. One evening, as the two adults sat on the veranda beneath a quiet moon, Diep broke the silence. "Why, James?" she asked softly. "Why risk everything for us? You could simply let us go." James took her hand, steady and firm. "Because I chose you. I chose Nhi. Even if I lose the company, even if I lose everything, I will never abandon you. Tears slid silently down her face. For the first time in years, Deep allowed herself to believe in the possibility of a happy ending. The enemy revealed. But destiny offered no such respite. A call from Lynn shattered the midnight calm. His voice shook with fear. Sir, John isn't just sabotaging the company. He's laundering money, connected to international trafficking. He'll stop at nothing. James closed his eyes, weighing the peril. He knew the closer he came to victory, the greater the risk to Deep and Nhi. Yet when he looked at Nhi the next morning, her gap-toothed smile lighting up her face, he knew retreat was impossible. Tio James, she said proudly, when I grow up, I want to be strong and brave like you. The words pierced him like sunlight through clouds. He pulled her into his arms and whispered silently, I'll fight to the end. For you, a CEO, a father, a man transformed. Thus James stepped into John's dangerous game, feigning weakness, playing the part of a man cornered. But beneath the facade lay a sharpened resolve, to dismantle John's empire piece by piece. For James, this was no longer just about protecting a company. It was about protecting a child who believed in him and a woman who had given him a reason to live beyond contracts and numbers. What Deep, James, and Nhi teach us is timeless. True love isn't just passion. It's sacrifice. It's standing guard through storms, believing that even in the darkest night, love can anchor us against the tide. James had once been a CEO defined by numbers. Now, he was something far greater, a father, a protector, and the beating heart of a family that refused to surrender.